to the open side. Karim Bete. Up the goal here to Samu, who's quick. Pete Samu looking for Karim Bete. Back to Samu. Oh, that is wonderful. That is wild. That is amazing from the Wallaroos.
Welcome to Pick and Drive Rugby, where the People's Podcast providing a platform for rugby lovers to come together and support this game, the game that's played in heaven. I'm your host, Ando. With me is Mitch, and we are incredibly excited to be joined by Super W and Wallaroo star Emily Robinson. Emily, how are you?
I'm good. Excited.
Yeah, very excited. Just come off the back of a pretty great win. How you recovered? How are you feeling after booking the top spot within the Super W comp and kind of heading into the quarterfinals or semifinals?
Yeah, it was a bit of a muck around of a weekend, to be honest. Felt like we were travelling for about 24 hours, but we made it, got the job done, and back in Sydney, ready to head to training tomorrow and get ready for the week.
So what happened? Bit of a muck around? Did flights delayed or something like that?
Oh, we're meant to be at Tahs at 7 a.m. on Friday, and we got a message at 6:20 saying that our flight was cancelled. And then
Good.
We got to Tahs, and then we were on 3 different flights with a different company, and our jerseys were on another flight. Anyway, look, we made it, we played, and we won, and that's all that matters.
And your jerseys arrived.
Yeah. You played in the right jersey.
Yeah, the jerseys got there. Yeah, we wouldn't be taking the field apart from in that sky blue.
Oh, love to hear it. Love to hear it. Now, one of the things that was just really awesome to see was the fact that the team have gone through the season like 5-0. How proud are the girls for basically setting out and doing the best they possibly could, getting all 5 wins?
Yeah, it's obviously like playing for the Tahs is like a big deal, and there's expectation that comes when you wear sky blue is that you win, and we definitely make sure that we try to keep that expectation going. And it was a bit of a new year this year. A lot of new young girls still have like a lot of the core, but definitely like a big shift in the future. And so I think it was just really important that those girls understood the privilege of wearing that jersey and making sure that they know that when you wear it, you win. So let's keep that going, yeah?
It obviously means so much to you. I mean, I can totally hear it. And we were talking before about just loving wearing the sky blue. But what is the meaning or the impact of being a part of that Waratahs team and wearing a jersey for you? Like, what is the message that comes with pulling on that jersey?
For me, I guess from when I was little, I just wanted to be a footy player. And I don't know. I think that the Waratah jersey is just super special. Obviously, there's been a lot of success in it. But I think that the kind of legacy of the group or the people that have played in it have really held it to a high standard. And I think from the first year, the organisation really bought into us, being part of their organisation and not just being a side product. And I think that we never want to let go of that. And we always want everyone to, make sure that we're upholding the jersey as best as we can and making sure we represent as well as we can. So to me, I love the sky blue. It means everything to me, and it's a big part of my life.
What does it feel like when you're walking around like Tahs HQ? Is like the girls have such a great success rate, particularly like the boys haven't really won a whole lot lately. Do you kind of hold your head high and say we're kind of upholding the pride of the jersey at the moment?
It's definitely like not a competition between us, but we don't need to. Like the boys are really good at the Tahs. They're really supportive and they get around, especially now. Like a fair few of the older boys have had some little daughters, so I think that's maybe changed, a shift in their mindset. I was talking with Jed Holloway the other day. His wife just had their second daughter, and like in the future, like she could be a Waratah or Wallaroo and be the first, father-daughter kind of thing. So, we don't need to walk around and rub that in. I mean, the boys' comp is completely different to ours, and like last year was awesome, and even this year, like they're doing really well. They've had a lot of injuries and unfortunate ones as well. So, we've all got each other's backs at the Tahs and very supportive of each other.
Yeah, but that's incredibly boring. Like, surely you're just walking around and saying how many premierships you guys have had or championships you've won over the last few years. Like, surely that comes up on a team.
You don't have to, mate.
Because you know it. You just
You
know
don't
it.
have to, nah. I think that, like, to be honest, like, but it's pretty boring, but, like, everyone's just so obsessed with winning. We want to win this week. Like, we want to win the next game. Like, it sounds cliche, but, like, yeah, obviously we have won those 4 premierships, and hopefully this, 2 weeks time we'll win another one. But like, we don't really walk around thinking about that. It's more like, let's win this week. Like,
Yeah. Just staying focused.
Kind
Just
of
staying focused.
Yeah.
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 So you mentioned
we'll probably
before a lot
talk
of the
about the
changes.
nights.
Sorry, you go.
We'll probably talk about the nights after the wins, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we might come to some of those questions a little bit later. Don't you worry. But I did want to ask. You mentioned earlier about some of the changes that have happened within a team from 22 to 23, because it has been quite significant. A lot of players have taken up some great opportunities overseas to kind of broaden their horizons and see what rugby union can be offering them overseas. And so, what are you feeling is different about the energy, the approach, or even the tactics of the team this year compared to last year because of a bit of that changing of the guard?
I mean, we lost 6 Wallaroos last year, or this year, sorry, which were all in our starting team. So that was a big change. But in saying that, we've been like working on the depth of our team for years and years. And, like everyone at the moment is talking about Caitlin Hollis, who's 16, and she's amazing. But like, we're Bronte Wilson, she's 16 as well. And like, Jacinta, she's 18, Brooke, she's 18. Like, all of these girls are like, yes, obviously Caitlin's killing it, but like all of the young girls are killing it, and all the old girls as well. So I think that like it's just quite like deeply embedded, like the work you have to put in to be a Waratah. And I would say the only thing that's really changed has been less whinging from Bella McKenzie.
What are some of those things, like those standards that the Tahs have set to be so successful over the years?
Some of the standards, like simple things, like I guess like you don't take the first sip of a water bottle because you pass it back to the person that's behind you because they're probably less fit than you. But those are like little things that we do at training. But I guess a big thing is just like being a good person and being honest is a big thing, and just hard work. Like, we work bloody hard. It doesn't matter if you're a Wallaroo or if you're 16-year-old Caitlin Hollis, everyone works hard. And I guess you just get dragged along, you get swept up in it, and you're like, oh God, like, there's Illy and she's working hard, I better work hard. Or, there's Grace Hamilton and she's belting people, I better belt someone. Like, you just kind of get stuck in this little trap of going hard all the time. So that's good.
And do you see that as a big part of your role now? Because, I mean, not wanting to kind of be rude, but there are a lot of younger players coming through. You're, the third most experienced player that took the field last weekend. Are you seeing, like, your role within a team changing a lot more over the last season or two because you've got more experience and wisdom, shall we say, to be passing on to the other players?
Yeah, the veteran, the 30-year-old veteran. Yeah. It's funny. I think, like, I've always been the same person. Like, I'm pretty loud and out there and not afraid to, I guess, pull people up on stuff. But probably has like come to my attention more the last year that people like look to me for, I guess, instruction or help or tips here and there. So I would say the last year that, yeah, definitely it's become more apparent that I'm old and they're young. So, but no, I mean, there's a solid group of us that are the originals. And I would say that we have a pretty solid foundation there. It's really good that the girls are just super comfortable to talk to us about that. I'd feel more awkward or out of the loop if they, didn't want to be involved with us at all. So I love the young ones. They make me feel like I'm 12 again.
Brilliant. Well, just focusing back again on the season itself, five from five. How do you think the girls have progressed and developed in terms of their approach throughout the season? You had a pretty close hiccup against the Reds, 31-10. Still got it done, but it was tight at the end there and needed a missed kick to be the reason why I kind of got the win. So how do you think the team has progressed, and what areas do you need to be stepping up, considering you got the Drua next weekend?
Yeah, I think we've progressed pretty well. I think, it was a bit of a rocky game against the Reds, but credit to them, they were quite good. Probably the best Reds team that we've played in a few years. So, they were really good. I think we had a bit of a shaky period in there, and like a bit of that came down to experience of those young girls and just like game management, I guess, and game knowledge around those championship minutes either side of half time. Like they just kind of don't have that experience, and now that they've played that game and they've played in big stadiums, they're getting that, and that's the only way to get that is to play it. So I would say that our season's been good but patchy in parts. I mean, we're obviously working on lots of different areas. Our ruck speed is one of the big focuses of this year, and having the fastest ruck speed in women's rugby across the world. So, and when you do those things and it pays off, you can see why her coaches hammer it into you. So, but yeah, I think that we're building nicely, and I think hopefully a few players back on the park this weekend, and we'll be red hot.
What did you think it was about the Drua? Because, I mean, the Drua last year were a bit of a revelation when they came into the competition. They brought, obviously, a new style, a new energy, and just a new approach to the way that the game was played within women's rugby, at least within the world. A very, very different approach. But this year, they are obviously a very different team. Lots of changeover within the squad. And it looked, because I was out at the game against the Drua out at Concord, and it looked that there had been a huge amount of emphasis from your team, focusing particularly on getting cohesion within your defensive line when there's a turnover or when there's a penalty given away, making sure the quick taps aren't working, and then trying to tackle high to prevent the offloads, or if you're tackling low, the second person's blocking that offload channel. Are those the key areas that you're working on? What do you think it is that's changed the way the Drua have been this season?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the Drua they play different style of rugby to Aussie teams, I guess. Same in the men's comp. That's pretty different. But yeah, against last week, 2 weeks ago, our focus was definitely wrapping that ball up and trying to prevent those offloads, because their offload game is phenomenal. And it's like they got glue on their hands or something, I don't know, but they just make it stick. So yeah, our D-line connection was super important, and will be again this week going forward. And yeah, just making sure that we're, being active and not reactive to things. Like if there's a penalty, even if you don't look at the ref and just get back 10. And if it's our penalty, we'll go back up and then we'll go from there. But it's better to kind of get back to 10 and make sure that they can't go, 100 miles an hour straight away. And you've got at least, half your team on side. You're already in better stead than kind of where we were last year. So I think last year we just kind of weren't ready for that. We hadn't played that style of footy before. So yeah, it was a big focus of ours, was definitely our connection in D, and just trying to minimise line breaks and offloads.
What are your thoughts about the improvements from the Rebels, Force, Brumbies? I mean, they all seem to have stepped up a bit this season in terms of their competitiveness. The Rebels on Friday night were pretty good, really strong defensively. Probably didn't offer as much an attack as what they would have hoped, but they were defensively sound. And Ash Masters is just an absolute weapon in tackling over the ball. How do you think the other teams have grown throughout the season?
Yeah, it's hard to comment, because I'd love to sit here and say that they're gotten better. I think the Rebels have definitely improved, but I still think that the comp needs to be better. I think that those clubs and the organisations overall need to be putting more into their women's programs, and I think it's really obvious that they don't. And obviously the Force this year have got a fair bit of cash that they're throwing around, and that's great, and they've done heaps good. Like the Force are always a pretty hard team, to be honest. Like even back in the days before Super W, we used to play it's nationals comp, and they're always hard. They're always super physical. They've kind of been like our little bogey team for a while, and you know they've put a little bit of cash into it, and they're starting to get some pay out of that. But they need to like deep seed that. It needs to be coming from like 15-year-olds that are wanting to play for the Force, and you know 12-year-olds that are down watching Ash Masters and those things. Like they need to be doing that. And you know I don't live there, and I don't know too much about it, but I just think the more and more it happens, the better off the whole comp will be. And obviously, I think teams have progressed, but then at the same time, some of the scorelines say otherwise. So it's kind of tricky to comment on, but I mean, I think you got my thoughts from that.
Yeah, no, totally. And also, you're trying to be humble, aren't you? You're trying to be like, yeah, they've got better, but we're still smashing them. So what does that say about us, really? On that point, though, you've got a pretty big week coming up. You said you're going to be back in training tomorrow. Obviously, I'm assuming before the break for Anzac Day. What does the week look like for you going into the semi-finals? How many times are you training? What does it look like for you, considering the team's not fully professional? So it won't be kind of every day.
Yeah, so I'll be on the tools at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And then we start Monday, Arvos. We have massages, start from 3:30. So at Waratahs, we get a massage every Monday, half an hour. And then we have meetings and some one-on-one stuff with coaches, some group meetings at front row, etc. Then we'll have a bit of a review tomorrow night. What is it, Monday tomorrow, so we'll have a review, and then we'll hit the field for some kind of clarity install. Bit of scrummaging is on Mondays, and then we'll bit of rotations, like bit of skills and just getting our hands back on the ball. And then Wednesday's a big day, so we gym first Wednesday afternoon, and then we hit the field and bit of shots on Wednesday, and we can do full team runs, and that's that. And then Thursday is normally captain's run, but we're playing on Sunday this week, so they might move that to Saturday morning. Not sure yet, but yeah, so either Thursday or Saturday morning we'll have captain's run, and it's just really just clarity, going through it and getting that done. And then obviously on each day that we train, we have a gym session, and really lucky at the Tahs that we've got the new facility, which is sick. And get in there and do recovery. We've got sauna and ice bars and hot pools, and yeah, it's mental. It's heaps good. So like everyone's just obsessed with it, to be honest. Like we got back yesterday at like 5 o'clock. You'd think everyone would just go home, but everyone's like, oh, should we go in the sauna? Like
hanging around, checking out the facilities.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then today, Adiana Talakai is there just doing some bicep curls. So
good on it.
It's sick. It's a sick place. So it's big weeks, like big weeks.
So you were sort of saying the amount of stuff that you have to fit into a week in prep for the games on the weekend. It sounds very similar to what the men do, but you obviously, because you're not fully professional, you try and squeeze it in after hours and working all the time. How do you personally find that transition from working a day job and then coming in and being a professional athlete in the evenings?
Yeah, I'm like a bit of a psycho, to be honest, but like I just kind of really good at like compartmentalizing things. Once I leave work, like that's it. I don't think about work again. And I kind of get to training and I have a shower and just like wash away my days. I'm a carpenter, so I'm obviously dirty, but I also just like to have a shower and get rid of it. And then like I'm at training and I'm at footy, and then I think you just get like a different energy when you get to training. You're around the girls and you kind of forget that you're exhausted. So I think that, you know, it's hard. Like it's definitely tricky, and there's girls coming from all different kinds of jobs. You know, we've got Anasir as a policewoman, and she's dealing with all sorts of stuff that's, you know, extremely draining. And then we've got childcare workers, also mentally and physically draining. We've got a mum. You know, everyone gets there and is absolutely dead. So then, you know, I think that's where it's like super important to have that good team. You know, you got to want to be there, because if you don't want to be there, like, it's going to be horrible for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, everyone gets there, gets a bit of pre-workout into them, and whole another day's about to start. So
They're just buzzing. They're just buzzing once that creatine hits.
Ready to hit someone.
Yeah, honestly.
On that point, though, I mean, we mentioned before that you're kind of one of the more experienced players now. How are players like Caden Hulse and Jacinta Windsor, some of the younger players or newer players within the squad, are you going to have any opportunity to kind of give them some input, give them some guidance about how to be preparing themselves during the week, because they've never been through a semi-final before?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, they love it, and they probably don't realize how like big of a deal it is. And sometimes that's good, and then, but you just kind of just give them little tips here and there of, you know, have you had enough water? Like, start with real simple things, like, you know, you need to start drinking on like a Wednesday, like drinking heaps of water on Wednesday to be good by Sunday, and just little stuff like that. Obviously, they come to us when they need stuff, and they're not scared about that. But yeah, just always checking in on them, making sure they're all right. A lot of them are from the country as well, so bit little, you know, country girls in the big smoke. So just always check in and make sure they're all good. But mate, they're loving it. They'll be sweet. They watered off the duck's back for those kids.
Bloody brilliant. So you got the double header on Sunday at Concord Oval. I mean, how exciting is it to have that big event? So you're going to find out on the day who your opponent's going to be the following week.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I thought it was on Saturday, but anyway, that's all right. I found out just before this that playing on Sunday. Not the most organised person in the world, but it'll be good. It'll be good. I think we're playing at 1 o'clock, so middle of the day, and then we kind of get the luxury to sit back and hopefully we've won. Sit back and watch the other two bash it out, and see who we get to belt the week after.
Yeah, heading up to Townsville for that game, which will be exciting as well.
Super random.
Yeah, I know, super random.
How does that travel element sort of affect your preparation? You played a lot of games in home this year, and with COVID haven't been able to travel around as much week to week. This is probably the first year, or last year partially as well, that the teams actually got to travel away for games. Does that change your prep, and does that sort of make it more difficult for the team to sort of get ready on game day?
I think it's super different everywhere you go. So, like, obviously before COVID, we were traveling all the time, 2018, 19, and then started 2020. But definitely against flying in the day of a game. I think it's terrible preparation physically, mentally, and I think that it doesn't put on the best show of rugby. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. So definitely against traveling on the day of the game, as in flying. But I think it's just a different kind of thing. So this week we'll all be meeting on a bus. Meeting at the Waratahs and coming on our Waratahs coach to Concord, whereas in the round game we drove ourselves. So just different mindset there. We just want to be together from the start, and we want to be switched on, and we don't want people turning up, you know, an hour before or 10 minutes before, or, you know, whatever it might be. Just things that we can control makes it much more clear cut, I guess. But I love traveling with the girls, like just being at the airport, watching people frap around, and, you know, watching the young girls like be in their kit, and people come up to them and talk to them. Like, it's so cool. And travel's a bit of a drain, but when you're doing it with 30 people, it's pretty fun. There's always someone to play cards with or have a laugh with, or the young bucks do TikToks, but I'm not into that.
Do the girls get to use that fancy new bus?
Yeah.
The Tahs bus?
Ooh.
Yeah. We go on our big blue bus. So yeah, we love it.
Yeah, we've seen that out and around town. It's looking schmick.
Yeah, you feel super like I don't know how you should, I guess. Important, professional athlete. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's sick.
That really is. What we might do now is let's shift across. We're going to do some quick fire questions. Okay. You haven't seen these, haven't shared them with you. So just wanting the name that kind of first comes into your mind whenever I ask these. We're going to go through them.
Ooh.
Once we've done it, just going to finish up and thank you so much for your time. All right. So you ready? You good to go?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Fastest over 10 meters.
May Stewart.
Fastest over 50 meters.
May Stewart.
Now that Bella McKenzie's gone, who's taken a role of lead complainer?
Oh, lead complainer. Probably also May Stewart, but I'll change it. Who complains a lot?
You must have so many to pick from.
There is. I can't really think, to be honest. Probably just all the backs.
Who likes to make sure their voice is always heard?
Grace Hamilton.
Good. Biggest bench press?
I think it's Adiana Talakai, and it's either her or Piper, and I think it's about 90 kilos or something crazy. Those girls they froth it.
Adiana and Piper. Okay, awesome. Biggest squat?
G-Fred.
Legend. Biggest pest in the squad?
Probably me.
Love the self-awareness there. And if it wasn't you, who would it be?
Maya.
All right, mate.
Sensing a theme here.
To defend herself, I think.
Well, actually, biggest pest. Lane Morgan is a serial prankster. Bit of a prankster. Yeah.
All right. Has she got any classics that she's probably going to whip out in the?
Just the odd walks along and like taps you on the wrong shoulder, and
Oh, just the classics. The classics.
Just the classics. The old wet willy in the ear.
Mate, that's old school. Okay.
Yeah.
Who fancies themselves a DJ and tries to choose the music in the sheds or on the bus?
Oh well, Addie thinks that she's the best DJ, but Cheech is actually the best DJ.
And for those of us who don't know who Cheech is,
Cheech. This is Cheech. She's in the fridge right now.
What a legend! Hey, Cheech.
Cheech, Katrina Barker, the 12, the best 12.
The best 12. Awesome. Who's most likely to get a turnover and then tell everybody about it?
Oh, well, G-Fred's most likely to get a turnover, but she doesn't tell anyone about it. She doesn't have to because she's a freak. Probably either Kapani.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Who thinks that they are a fashion icon?
Piper Dark.
Legend.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. She has these Crocs. She has Crocs with heels on them. Heels.
And what do you think about that?
I told her they're banned and she can never wear them again.
Yeah, I think that's where some wisdom really needs to come into the situation here.
Yeah.
Thank you for the work you're doing for all of us.
Yeah.
Now, who is most likely to appear on Farmer Wants a Wife?
Oh. I mean, Grace. She's from the bush.
She is, yep.
Yeah, I'll go with Grace. Grace.
Yeah, love it. First to head home after a night with the girls?
Like to backdoor it kind of thing?
Yeah. So Phantom early, got an early start. Just needs to really get some Z's.
Not really anyone, to be honest. We're all carry-ons.
Yep. Well, then who's the last then to head home?
Oh, Sarah Nagama.
Just loves it. Good to know.
Yeah.
And who's the most confident on a dance floor, or who thinks they're the best on a dance floor? Because they're not the same thing.
Most confident on the dance floor? Piper.
Thanks, Katrina. Thanks.
And then, yeah. Can you hear? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just helping me out. And then what was the other one?
Who
thinks that they're the best dancer?
Who thinks they're the best dancer? Yeah.
Actually, I change it. Confident on the dance floor, Bridie O'Gorman. Who thinks that they're the best dancer? Piper Dark.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. I feel like you've laid down or put a few shots out there that we're going to have to get people on to defend themselves against. But thank you. Thank you for
I'll
that.
be the answer for everything else. Even the fastest over 50, that'll be me as well.
Glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. You got to definitely represent for the front row forwards. Now, the final question I have is, how much does Brodie O'Gorman just talk about all the breaks and half breaks that she gets? I mean, like, it's just unreasonable that a prop is getting as many as she does.
Yeah. Look, that try like that was definitely unreal. And she probably would have got, I mean, she was like, I think, pretty sure she was Insta famous, or I don't know, whatever that is. But then, like, I think it was like the next week or maybe 2 weeks after Eva scored that 50-meter try.
Yep.
So it kind of got downgraded. Like, obviously it was still great, but then it was like, oh, well, Eva kind of did the same thing. So, and then it was kind of like, well, why aren't I doing 50-meter breaks? So then it all kind of turned on me. But nah, she didn't carry on too much about it. She's not much of a look at me kind of person, Bridie. But she definitely had her ears pricked up that week.
Yeah.
So we can expect a 50-meter try from yourself this weekend?
I was 1 meter out on the weekend, mate, and I still didn't score it. So absolutely not.
Well, on that note of confidence and entertainment, why don't we finish things up there? Hoping to get out for the game this weekend, but incredibly excited. Best of luck for your clash against the Drua. And thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the support of women's footy. We love it.
Absolutely love it. Thanks again. Bye.
Thanks, guys.